My name is Joseph, and I am in Houston, in a suburb called Pearland. Apparently, there was a lot of pears in the city long ago, but I haven't found one yet, so a pear tree yet. And I was a Methodist up until 2019, and now am hopefully will be doing the last step of my second ordination here through the Episcopal Church in sometime in the summer. And planting a church in the pandemic, I definitely do not recommend. It is very, very stressful, especially when one of our jobs is to hang out. And for those of you that are thinking about planning a church, I really recommend you to learn the art of hanging out with people, just being present. Because right now in the season of the way church is going, not many people are looking for a church to be part of. The people that come to church, the people that intentionally look for church are already church people. And I have this affinity to connect with people who have been unchurched and de-churched, which has made my job incredibly difficult because people I want to come to my church are unchurched and or de-churched. But I feel like I'm more drawn to the people who are slightly on the fringes of community, of society, of whatever. Mainly because I felt like looking back in my life, I've always been on the fringes of community, of society as well, because, you know, I'm a Korean American, but I was growing up, I was too American for the Koreans and too Korean for the Americans. When I was a United Methodist, when I was ordained in 2008, I was the youngest person in any given ministry setting in the Methodist Church, and that was always fun. Within the Korean church, I served as a second-generation Korean American pastor in a first-generation Korean church, and clearly the second-generation ministry was an afterthought, at least when it came to budget and whatnot. And they would always push us aside for whatever ministry that the first generation wanted to do. And then within the second generation pastors, I was always on the outside because I was one of the few progressive ones that wanted to really include the LGBT community fully and affirm them fully within our churches. And now that I am an Episcopalian, there are so many words I have to learn, new words that I never knew existed. And I am sort of on the fringes looking in and wondering how deep I want to wade into becoming Episcopalian, but also in the Asian American ministry, which for me, it seems like it's more comfortable and geared to the first generation Asians. I find myself kind of looking out and wondering how much do I have to assimilate to be feeling like a part of a group. And the truth is, the way our churches are set up these days, we kind of expect people to come and meet us where we're at, come and do the things that we're doing, come and join us in the conversation we're having, come and change the way that you do things so that you can be part of this community. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why so many of our churches, our mainline churches, are struggling and declining, because we want people to come join us where we are at. And if there's one thing that I've learned, the song that you heard in the beginning is called Crowded Table. And the bridge of that song goes, where everyone's a little bit broken, but everyone belongs. And that is what we want to achieve in this church, where everyone belongs. And I think the one way that we can do that is for us as clergy or as church planters, lay missioners or lay leaders. What we need to do is we really need to embody the act of being incarnational. And for me, what that means is really being present in the community. I think one of the characteristics of being incarnational is being boundary and border crossers, because when God wanted to really reach out to us humans, God didn't wait for us to come to temple. God didn't wait for us to say the right prayers or say the right words or believe in the right things. God became one of us. God crossed the border of divinity and into humanity and God walked among us, talked among us, ate among us, lived among us, and most importantly, just hung out with humans. And that's what I feel like is missing in many of our churches. And if we are planting new churches and replicating the wheel of what already is doing, or what already other churches are doing, I kind of wonder what will be the point of starting another church that might reach the same people. So I I've I know the art of hanging out is not something that church people are comfortable with, because they want you to work, and they already think we only work 1 hour a week. So like when they see us sitting at coffee shops with strangers, they're like, well, why is my pastor doing there? And the thing about the churches is it's always any community, we're always inwardly focused. And the thing about churches is we're more inwardly focused because the loudest complainers are our stakeholders. They're the ones, like, if we upset them, it might ruin like what the balance that we have. So we always sometimes tend to lean towards the insiders to make sure that they're kept happy so that we can continue to have a job. And there comes a point where we have to decide, are we going to be pew fillers or kingdom builders? And sometimes those two things do not go together. And I'm hoping that as you hear all these stories of wonderful churches, like Yunjung asked me if I have any pictures. I don't, because we were supposed to plant a church in last August, and the pandemic happened, and I lost all the momentum that I gained, and now we're slowly trying to get back to where we were. And this past month and a half, I had conversations with 5 people, all who liked me as a person, but they don't quite trust me as a clergy person. And they said, I like what you're doing and I hope you're successful, but I want to hang out with you, but I don't think I'll ever come to your church. And it's like, well, is that time wasted or time well spent? And it depends what your goal is, what your vision is, what your mission is. And for me, that's still, though I may not be able to tell the institution I have this person to count, I still think that I'm planting seeds to make sure that, to maybe undo some of the harm that the church, many people have experienced through the church, because we as Christians have possibly caused more harm than we are aware of. So I wanted to make myself a new business card that says Joseph Yu, professional hangout person, because I think that is what we are called to do in this moment, as at least I am, to plant this church, is to really get to know people's story, get them to trust me enough to tell me their stories, and have the privilege to share my story, and to share how their story, my story, intertwines with God's story, and how all of our stories are just, we intertwine in here and there, and that every single person has worth and value in the eyes of God. So one of the things that I've been telling people about Mosaic is we want to be a place where you matter to God, even if God doesn't matter to you. And I think I might be setting myself up for a failure in the institutional eyes, because I don't ever see our church being a mega church. But that's okay, because the more people there are, the more headaches there are to handle anyway. So I feel the need to just really immerse myself in Pearland. And I'm 40 years old and I'm wearing a collar and I'm skateboarding around Pearland just to be visible, but also to explore the neighborhood and connecting with people. And again, my goal is to connect with them, get to know them, have them get to know me. And if they ever come to Mosaic, thanks be to God. But if they don't, I know that they will always have a person that they can count on when they need any kind of help. And so I don't think I can get to that point if I don't master the art of hanging out. So don't be afraid to just hang out. Don't spend, clergy, pastors, do not spend too much time in your office, because the only people that come to visit you in your office are complainers, and you don't want to deal with that. So if you want to meet new people, go out into the community and just be visible. Go find your local coffee shop or a bar or something where people gather. Go to your Rotary meetings, join the Chamber of Commerce, be a presence in your community, so that when things go wrong, people will be like, wait, I know that guy. He's always around, and he's a clergy, so maybe they can help me. Or you can go and start asking people, how can the church be a service of you? What's the greatest need in our community, and how can we help meet that need? So go to the people. Don't wait people to come to us. Go join the people in the journey that they're on. Go join the conversations that they're having. Go meet them where they're at, where they are at, because the Great Commission isn't wait for people to come to you. It's go, therefore. So go, therefore, and hang out.